I think I might have been unduly influenced by the posters. My talk is a little bit more why you should love math. I felt charged with answering this question. And fortunately, it's an easy question to answer. And as a math professor, getting one laugh out of a lecture is usually pretty good. But we should begin with a little bit farther. For the few of you who have had to suffer through my classes, you'll know I have a soft spot for comic strips, so I'll give you a minute to dive into this here. So I think in a lot of ways this sums it up for those of you who follow XKCD, very much fitting with this, his sense of humor. The guy who writes this, Randall Munroe, has a lot of sort of science and math and education in general background. If you don't follow it, you should follow it. It's funny. And if you do follow, you know that he hides comments about his comic strips in the mouse over. This one, I think, just really drives the point home. You know, things you have to know are how to make enough of a living to stay alive and how to get your taxes done. And then, really, I think, what just absolutely nails it on the head, all the fun parts of life are optional. I could not have put it better, so far. So, this whole math thing, sat down to try and get a sense of, okay, why should we study this? A lot of what I'm going to say is true about any of the general education courses. You're probably starting to hear that already, and I mentioned you'll hear that 3 more times, hopefully. So, partly because it's funny, and partly because I'm going to give away one of my main points if you think about it, right? Sat down with, you know, how do we learn anything these days? You go to the internet, you see what the internet says. So, why study fill in the blank, right? How many hits do you get on Google? You know, why study math? And you get, you know, a few 100 million hits. You're like, okay, that's pretty exciting. But is it really that exciting? Any guesses as to the number 1 here?
Music.
Dr. Case, do you have any guesses as to what might be?
It's just where you.
Yes! Starts to fall off, and then it really takes a dive. So, yeah, you've got to take the internet with a grain of salt, right?
This technology has gotten 0.
Honestly, I picked some big things, and then psychology, actually, if I remember right, was well, I did it one way, and then that wasn't quite working. I redid it, and I didn't want to be sure too. I had to look for a while to find one that was lower than math. That was really the key thing. So. But again, you know, it might just be the philosophy doesn't need to be so strongly defended because it's just so obvious. Make it how you will. All right, so this question here of why study math. In some sense, that's the wrong question. And in some sense, I think that's the wrong question for any field that you go into. If you're thinking, does this math class really matter? Or why do I have to take art? I can't remember what the posters were. So, in some sense, it's the wrong question, right? The real question, I think, is what is it you're studying in the first place? Why do I have to do this? it's not a bad idea to figure out what it is that we're asking you to do. Right? Because if math is about solving for x, then I, as a math professor, and you can quote me on this, am perfectly happy telling you you should not study math. That's what math is. And no more than you should study music if music is just about learning scales. Or you should study history if history is just about memorizing a bunch of dates. And you can go on and on and on with that. Right? If you ask math people, right, which I count myself as one of those, I'll try not to let it make me too paranoid, but if you ask professional mathematicians, okay, what is it that you love about math? I think one of the things that non-math people are often most shocked to hear, right, is it's not because it's so useful, that it's this great practical skill that you can do so many things with. And you can, but that's not why we love it. Right? Most of us will say, because it's so beautiful. And people who have beauty. Surely he really is crazy now, right? But there's a lot going on with it, right? And I think to kind of hopefully get us thinking in the right direction, right? A couple of questions that I thought hopefully sum up what I'm trying to say here, right? What kind of questions do you want to be able to answer? Right? Because if you are only a historian, or only a mathematician, or only an artist, right, you're limiting the kind of questions that you can answer. And I think even more to the point is what kind of questions do you want to be able to ask? As an example of that, we have every other week on Thursdays, we have this math fellowship thing that we've never figured out a better name for. People show up during the free chapel hour, since there's no chapel on Thursdays. We have cookies and we'll talk about some sort of fun math thing. And about a month or so ago, we did this thing here. Put it up so we can see it. So we put this together. I'm not saying that this is the pinnacle of mathematical art by any means. We threw it together in a few hours with a bunch of cardstock. But what this is 30 pieces of cardstock, these rectangles, shaped out like this. Right? This is blown up a little bit. These are a little bit bigger. A couple places you need to cut it. Right? A couple places where you need to, well, one place you need to fold it. Now they'll slide together and you get this interesting little shape here. And the point here is not just, okay, so math is useful because it tells you where to cut the cards to put it together, right? Math doesn't just tell you how to cut the cards together to fit together. Math is what gives you the idea to even think of this in the first place. It's not just what do you want to be able to answer, but what do you want to ask? And this is true, I think, in so many disciplines. And I think I had one more and I've forgotten. Oh, yes. I mean, how do you really want to see the world? Right? My other, I used to call it my secret shame, but I'm comfortable with it now. I crochet. I've said it. Losing. I see this as a calculus project. Right? That's how I see the world. If I had more time and I thought more than 2 people in this room really cared, we can talk about it. But if you want to know, you can ask me. Why would I even think to do that? Right? Not just how did I do it, but why did that come to me in the first place? These are the questions that should shape how you're approaching all the courses that you take and all the learning that you do after you leave college. Because if you stop learning after 4 years here, you really got a bad deal. You paid way too much money for what you got. So in summary, right, nice easy answer here. And I think